It was just past 10 o'clock in the morning, and Caleb's little basket felt like it could burst pink eggs, blue eggs, even the shiny gold one he'd been hunting for all morning. He zigzagged through cousins and friends, sun-warmed grass under his sneakers, when a voice drifted in, soft and strange. "Hey, kiddo, your mom sent me to get you." Caleb froze. He blinked at the man in a faded hoodie and sunglasses, standing too still by the white picket fence. The air smelled of fresh-cut grass and melting sidewalk chalk. A church bell chimed, and children shouted as they scrambled for eggs. But Caleb's pulse thumped so loud he thought everyone in the yard might hear. "Mom," he whispered, stepping closer. His mother never sent anyone to fetch him. Church was safe. He knew that. Across the lawn, Nicole was juggling a tray of vanilla cupcakes, each paper liner dusted with pastel sprinkles. She'd just finished leading a verse in the choir, her voice echoing off the chapel wall sand, was setting treats on a picnic blanket when she glanced up. Her heart lurched when she saw Caleb walking away, small hand in a stranger's. Time did that strange thing where it both stretched out and snapped by. 1 second, Caleb's fingers were wrapped around a paper cup. The next, they were slipping out of her sight. "Caleb!" she screamed, voice raw and ragged. The words tore through the crowd like a cannon shot. The stranger's head snapped around. He tightened his grip on Caleb's hand, but hesitated as Nicole barreled toward them. The hoodie man's sunglasses caught the light, no reflection of panic, just the pastel tents and the fluttering choir banners. Then his shoulders slumped. He let Caleb go without a fight and melted back into the people milling by the snack table. Uniformed officers arrived almost instantly when someone shouted for security. Flashing badges and anxious faces formed a circle around Caleb and his mother. Nicole dropped her cupcakes. Icing puddled on the grass as she scooped her boy into her arms, trembling so hard she could barely breathe. Reverend Miles Grady knelt beside them, his polished shoes brushing grass stains off his robe. He murmured apologies and promises, but all Nicole could hear was Caleb's heartbeat against her chest. Caleb's tiny voice broke through her panic. "Mom, why did he say you sent him?" She smoothed his hair and swallowed back tears. He didn't. You did exactly what you had to do. Stay brave. And don't let strangers pull you away." Later, in a pastel-decorated fellowship hall, Nicole wrapped Caleb in a soft blanket. She offered him chocolatier chip cookies, but he only nibbled, eyes wide at the circle of faces. Church elders, the deacon who organized the hunt, families clutching worried toddlers. Reverend Grady stood up and spoke in measured tones about safety plans and police reports. Outside, someone took a photograph of the cupcake chaos crumbs and sprinkles like confetti underfoot. Caleb stared at the trays and asked, "Do we still get to hunt next year?" His voice was small. Nicole hugged him tighter. "Yes, baby, we'll hunt again, but I'll never take my eyes off you." That afternoon, Gracewood Chapel posted flyers in the parking lot with the stranger's sketch. They installed extra volunteers at every event. But for Nicole, every hymn now carried an achier reminder of how close they came to losing her son. And for Caleb, Easter would always taste a little bittersweet. He'd smile as he filled his basket, but he'd glance around at every adult wearing a friendly smile, wondering who might be hiding the next lie. Because sometimes danger doesn't wear a mask. Sometimes it just wears a hoodie, a soft voice, and a Leand shows up at the one place you swear is safe. Signal Trail was supposed to be a joke, flashlights, whispered taunts, and a midnight game of manhunt. But when Zoe slipped into the woods, something in the dark didn't laugh back. Just past 10 o'clock on Easter weekend, 19-year-old Zoe Hastings crept through the pines, heart hammering in time with her footsteps. The moon was a pale sliver overhead, casting long shadows that wavered like silent ghosts. She'd come here with a group of college friends from Louisville, chasing that rush you only get when you know you're supposed to be scared. Derek Wolfe had organized it. He was the guy who swore a night under the stars could fix any problem. "Trust me," he said. "The forest is medicine." Zoe believed him until the forest whispered back something far darker. They split into two teams. Zoe dashed off with her flashlight bobbing like a firefly. She laughed when she slipped on a mossy root, cursing under her breath. "Smooth move, genius," she muttered, dusting dirt off her jeans. Behind her, branches snapped. She froze. Nothing, just her own breath, loud and ragged in her ears. She shook it off and kept running, the playful shouts of her friends fading behind her. 20 minutes later, Zoe hadn't heard a single voice for what felt like hours. The trail markers they'd jokingly left an old soda can here, a neon ribbon there weren't enough to guide her back. She should have turned around, should have shouted, "Guys, I'm lost." But something made her press on, deeper into the pines. And then she saw it. A crude symbol carved into the bark of a hickory tree. 3 jagged lines circling a slash. Her breath caught. Why carve something like that in a friendly manhunt? The hairs on her arms prickled. She wiped her sweaty palm across her jeans, almost wishing she had her group with her. That's when she felt ITAs on her. Not the playful glare of her friends, but something colder. She spun around, flashlight beam slicing through black. A shape melted into the underbrush. Zoe's heart found a new rhythm, pure panic. She bolted, feet slipping on wet pine needles. The beam zigzagged, revealing twisted roots and empty space. Then she tripped, sprawling facey first into damp earth. Pain exploded in her knee. She tasted metal, blood. She scrambled up, adrenaline carrying her forward. Behind her, a low grunt. She didn't dare look back. Instead, she sprinted until the pines thinned and the edge of the campground lights flickered ahead, like a promise. Voices called out Derek's voice, ragged and frantic. "Zoe! Zoe! Where are you?" She screamed back, voice raw. I'm here! I'm here!" Flashlights painted the trees in swinging arcs. They found her pressed against the guardrail, muddy and bleeding, one earring missing. Her legs trembled so hard she thought she might collapse again. Derek dropped to his knees beside her, fumbling for his first aid kit. "Hang on," he whispered, pressing gauze to her scrape. "We've got you." His voice shook more than hers. Sirens wailed in the distance. Deputy Carla Ruiz arrived minutes later, boots crunching on gravel. She was tall, solid-eschadored, eyes sharp as flint. She knelt, flashing her badge. "Ma'am, I'm Deputy Ruiz. Can you tell me what happened?" Zoe's voice was nothing but a tremor. "Two don't know. I saw the symbol, then someone grabbed me. I ran." She looked around, dazed. Why would anyone be here alone? Ruiz stood and examined the tree. The carving stared back, mocking. She frowned, slipping on a pair of gloves. "This wasn't random," she said into her radio. "We have possible assault with unusual markings." Over the next hour, Ruiz walked the perimeter. She found a torn flannel sleeve snagged on a branch and fibers caught in the bark. No footprints, not even clear flashlight reflections. Whoever did this knew the woods better than any camper. Back at camp, Zoe sat wrapped in a blanket, flashlight tucked under her chin. She could still taste pine resin on her lips. Her friends hovered, wide-rayed. Derek dropped beside her, guilt and relief warring in his gaze. "Why didn't you scream sooner?" someone asked. Zoe stared at the shadows. "I thought no one would hear me past that tree." Ruiz joined them, showing photos on her phone. Close-ups of the carving, magnified fibers. "We'll get whoever did this," she promised. But her tone was flat. She'd seen these woods swallow people before. No easy answers, no neat endings. Later, in the hush of the forest, Zoe whispered into her trembling hands. "I thought we knew these woods. I thought we were safe." She paused, letting the words drift into the dark. "Turns out, Some trails don't want you back. They broke camp at dawn. Zoe packed her gear methodically, hands still shaking. Derek offered to carry her pack, but she waved him off. "I need to do this," she said softly. As they walked the dusty road out, the morning sun filtered through the treetops like warning lanterns. Zoe glanced over her shoulder one last time at Signal Trail. The symbol was gone obliterated by deputies, but the memory burned brighter than any carving. Somewhere out there, an assailant vanished into the deep. No arrest, no confession, just one girl's story and a warning whispered on the wind. Even in a circle of friends, under a sky of stars, danger can slip in through the crack sand. You might never see it coming. Ever wonder what happens when childhood memories turn into nightmares? In Ashwood, Maine, a simple Easter visit unlocked something no one saw coming. Liam Treadwell eased out of his rental car just after dawn, the morning chill tugging at his sweatshirt. He hadn't set foot on these mossy woods since he was 12 when pine cones were treasure and the cabin porch felt like magic. Now the place looked smaller, the trees taller, the fog heavier. His sister, Rachel, was waiting at the front steps, notebook in hand and eyes already scanning the tree line. "You smell that?" she asked, the breeze carrying pine resin and damp earth. "Whatever's out here isn't just old logging marks." Liam laughed, nervous, half-hearted, sliding his pack off one shoulder. "You and your legends. Let's find some coffee before you start hunting ghosts." They wandered down the rutted logging road, sun slicing through fog in dusty beams. Rachel clicked photos of ancient stumps and snapped bark with strange gouges. Liam juggled his phone and half-listened to her theories. Abandoned cults, folklore rituals, symbols older than the town itself. By midday, they'd reached the old clearing, where their grandparents used to hang wind chimes. Instead, they found processions of them now carved from saplings, inverted, nailed crudely to pine trunks. And on a fallen log sat a deer skull, its jaw tipped open like a silent scream. Liam's heart thumped. "What the hell?" He knelt, brushing a finger over weathered wood. These weren't here yesterday. Rachel's flashlight beam trembled as she circled the scene. "Someone wants to be noticed," she said, "and wants us to know they were here." That evening, over campfire coffee, the wind rattled the windows of the cabin. Shadows danced across the walls. Liam stared at his steaming mug, trying to shake the unease. Rachel, scribbling madly, mumbled, "We need to tell Jonah. He'll." A soft knock stopped her. They both froze. It came again, tense, deliberate. Through the frosty window, neither could see a face. Liam set his cup down, voice low. Probably a neighbor, with a saw and no sense. But when Sergeant Jonah Keene arrived, boots crunching in frost, carried a seriousness that sucked the warmth out of the room. He glanced at the skull, then at the crosses outside. "Every symbol means something," he said. No jokes, no small talk. That night, Liam lay awake, blanket tangled around his legs. He heard the scrape of nails outside, the soft thud of wood against bark. He bolted up, heart hammering. Rachel's door creaked as she joined him. "Did you hear that?" They crept outside. Moonlight pooled at their feet. On the old maples closer to the cabin, new carvings glinted, two inverted crosses flanking a circle of sticks. No skull this time, just a quiet message left in the mist. Liam swallowed. "Why us?" Rachel crouched, pressing a gloved palm to the ground. "Look, there, in mud, was a single boot, print size 8, tread worn smooth, not hers, not his." By dawn, the community was buzzing. Neighbors whispered over fences. A local blogger posted blurry celluphone snaps. Rumors swirled. Cult revival, teenage prank gone too far, forest ghosts reawakening. Liam and Rachel joined Jonah at the clearing. He sketched the layout into his notebook measurements, symbol angles, tree species. "This isn't random vandalism," he said, voice tight. "Someone's performing." They scoured the woods for hours, Rachel's camera clicking, Liam's breath puffing in the cold. The deeper they went, the heavier the silence. No birds, no breeze, just the crunch of their steps and something watching. As they rounded an ancient oak, Rachel halted, hand over her mouth. On a pew-like fallen trunk, fresh scratches spelled out a crude arrow pointing north. The deer skull lay beneath it, face down in pine needles. Liam knelt and turned it over. The jaw was wired shut by sinew. He glanced at Rachel, whose fingers trembled on the camera shutter. "This is beyond local lore," she whispered. They left a marker, snapped more photos, and hauled themselves back to the cabin. Rachel typed furiously on her laptop. Liam stared out the window, replaying every sound. Even the trees seemed to lean closer, as if eavesdropping. Sergeant Keene dropped by one last time before they left, coffee in hand, breath steaming. "I'll keep the patrols up," he promised. "But symbols like these, they mean someone's staking a claim." He pressed a business card into Liam's hand. "Call me if anything else turns up." On the drive home, fog swallowed the road. Rachel finally broke the silence. "You know, Mom will freak when she reads what we found." Liam nodded, eyes on the windshield. "Yeah, but maybe fear's good. Reminds us to keep looking at the trees, at the signs, at each other." He glanced at his sister, grit in her jaw, notebook full of questions. Somewhere out there, someone was waiting to be understood or stopped. Because in Ashwood, tradition twisted into terror under the hush of pine boughs, and some crosses left in the dark were never meant to be overlooked.
Like, subscribe, and comment.